we've been so incredibly short-sighted. I'm glad you raised that question, Dave. And, we've been so incredibly short-sighted on a lot of programs. We've killed projects, when they began showing some promise. And if you say that the Kaveri wasn't producing adequate thrust, you design an aircraft around that. You design a fighter jet around that. Treat it as an R&D program. And then develop a Mark II and a Mark III, and you gradually increase the thing. You don't say that, this thing isn't working out for me, that I'm going to throw the baby out with the bathwater, right?
Exactly.
The Kaveri is the baby, right? And you just change the bathwater. You step up. If you don't find one Kaveri engine producing enough thrust, think of a twin-engine fighter jet, right? A twin-engined LCA, for instance. You could have two engines. Because at the end of the day, it is your baby. It's your own program. You own the IP for that. Nobody can hold you hostage for this. But we chose the easy way out. We said, it's not meeting the thrust. Let's just delink it, put it on the side. It doesn't meet the thing. It's happened in the past. And, history repeats, because we started a jet engine program way back in the 50s. I think it was in 56 or 57 with the GTRE again. This was meant for the Marut, the fighter aircraft, which I think it went in with a British engine, Orpheus, the British Orpheus, which was underpowered again. So the Marut went through its entire life with an underpowered engine. And the GTRE kept developing that engine. They started it's an identical Kaveri redux kind of thing.
Okay.
Kaveri was a redux of what we did with the GTX thing, where they began again in 1956 or something. They started struggling with the engine. The Marut had already entered service. They, put British engines on that. And then they said, these British engines are underpowered. What can we do? Our, engine is still in development phase. And this was the India of like 60 years ago, you can imagine, where we are still in the bullock cart era, right? Bullock cart and bicycle era. So they said, okay, let's continue with the British engine. Then someone said, let's go and get the British again to, increase the thrust of this engine. Then they quoted some, 2 million pounds or something. The government of India said, no, it's too much. And then the Marut finally died a death. I think in 1990 is when it was phased out. GTRE did develop that engine in the late 70s. I think it was post-Pokhran, that much I know. It's GTX. It was the GTX 14U. It was our first jet engine.
Okay.
Again, it didn't have enough thrust, and there were issues with that, and it was abandoned. Then you began a new design for the Kaveri, again in 86. Same problems. So we don't seem to learn from this failure-based approach, which ISRO does a lot.
Yes.
The rocket fails, they don't chuck the rocket aside and they say, we'll go for an imported rocket now. You work on that rocket. And I think that, the Gaganyaan, the Chandrayaan was a classic case.
Yeah.
19 and 23. 19 you failed, 23 you came back with a thing. It's not that, I'm going to abandon the whole thing. Chandrayaan has been a failure, we couldn't hit the thing. You keep trying, try till you succeed. And I think the problem here is the way the organizations have been structured. They're all in silos.